Imagine this, a land where 13 tiny colonies rebel against the world's most powerful empire, where a group of ordinary farmers fight trained redcoat soldiers, where a new nation rises with the promise of freedom, yet carries contradictions so deep that they shake the country for centuries. This is the story of how the United States became the United States. A story of courage, conflict, invention, mistakes, dreams, and the constant battle to live up to its own ideals. Long before the first European arrived, this land was already full of nations. Over 500 distinct Native American tribes, each with their own cultures, governments, and stories. From the Navajo in the southwest to the Haudenosaunee in the northeast, America was not empty land. It was a thriving system of civilizations. But in the 1500s, Europeans came. Spanish explorers in the south, French traders in the north, and eventually the English on the Atlantic coast. They brought new technologies and new diseases that devastated millions of indigenous people. The land was changing, and no one yet knew how much. By the 1700s, the English colonies were growing fast, but London was far away, and its rules felt heavier every year. Taxes without representation, restrictions on trade, soldiers stationed in streets. The tension grew until one night in Boston, shots rang out. Then came the Boston Tea Party, a protest that signaled one thing: America had reached its breaking point. In 1776, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence with the bold claim that all men are created equal. It was a promise that would inspire the world, but one the new nation itself struggled to fulfill. The Revolutionary War began, and after years of brutal fighting, the unthinkable happened. The colonies won. A new nation was born. After independence, the United States was basically a startup country. There were arguments about everything: taxes, state power, the military, and especially the presidency. So in 1787, delegates gathered to write a new constitution. They argued for months, big states versus small states, North versus South, until a fragile agreement formed. George Washington became the first president, a man revered so deeply that Americans feared anyone else would ruin the country. But under the surface was a problem too big to ignore: slavery. The Constitution allowed it, though many knew it was a time bomb. In the 1800s, America grew at lightning speed. Territory doubled through the Louisiana Purchase. Settlers pushed westward under the idea of manifest destiny, and railroads began stitching the continent together. Immigrants poured in: Irish, German, Chinese, hoping for the American dream. Factories changed cities forever, while inventions like the telegraph shrank distance itself. But as America grew, so did division. The North industrialized. The South relied on plantations and enslaved labor. Every new state that joined the Union sparked a question: would it be free or slave? The country felt split in half, and eventually it snapped. In 1861, the Civil War erupted, the deadliest conflict in U.S. history. Brother fought brother. Entire towns disappeared. The nation nearly tore itself apart. Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring enslaved people in Confederate states free. Union victories stacked up, and in 1865, the Confederacy surrendered. Slavery was abolished. But the end of the war wasn't the end of struggle. Reconstruction promised equality, but was resisted with violence, segregation, and discrimination. The nation had ended one nightmare and entered another.
By the late 1800s and early 1900s, America industrialized so quickly it shocked the world. Skyscrapers appeared. The Wright brothers launched the first airplane. Millions of immigrants arrived through Ellis Island, searching for a better life. But progress came with costs. Dangerous factories, child labor, crowded cities. Reformers fought to make things better, and slowly laws began to change. Then the U.S. entered World War I, survived the Great Depression, and after World War II emerged as a global superpower. The second half of the 20th century was a storm of transformation. The U.S. raced the Soviet Union to space, eventually landing humans on the moon. At home, the civil rights movement, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., fought racial injustice and forced America to confront its unkept promises. The Vietnam War divided the nation. The Internet revolution reshaped society, and new generations began redefining what America meant. Today, the United States is a country of innovation, conflict, diversity, and debate. It's a land where new ideas compete every day. Tech giants rise, social movements challenge old norms, and millions of voices argue about what the nation should look like. But through every chapter, one thing is constant. America is a nation always becoming, always evolving. Its story isn't the straight line. It's a struggle between ideals and reality, between past mistakes and future hopes. And the story isn't finished yet, because the United States isn't just history. It's an ongoing experiment.